What's up, everyone? It's Scotty with MoneyVest. So markets here ripping higher yet again. We've got the S&P 500 up over 60 basis points, the NASDAQ almost 1% on the back of course, Tesla, Google, a lot of these companies, money rotating into these stocks. We had a trade idea on both Google and Apple, and it's now starting to finally play out with Google trade idea now almost pretty much at our target. And I mentioned this in our Discord to close the idea or close the potential profit here, considering how much it's rallied over 16, almost 17% in the last few days. And we have kind of hit our target of close to over 150. It has the potential to, of course, get up to as high as $155 per share as well. But the marginal risk to reward ratio now at these levels, of course, is no longer favorable as it was just a few days ago when it was trading in the 130s. So again, huge congratulations to anyone who was able to take advantage of this. I specifically mentioned this trade idea in our newsletter, and I also talked about this in one of our other trade idea videos over the weekend as well. So again, quality over quantity. I'm only looking for and hunting for the best opportunities for you. So link's going to be down below if you are interested in joining us, and I will be sharing all the updates, all the alerts, and all the trade ideas, as well as the newsletter and the moneyvest.com website that's going to be coming out very soon. That's going to be private for members only for the first few months, and then we'll be launching for everybody here on YouTube and everybody else all over the world, basically. And we also did have an idea on Apple. So Apple is also starting to kind of push higher, although we did see a lot of selling pressure intraday. So at one point, of course, Apple was up over 1.5%, closer to 2%, and then sold right back down to only be up 65 basis points. So again, link's going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board. As always, make sure that you subscribe and, of course, drop a like on this video as well. So this is the heat map, and we do also, of course, have the Fed meeting. So FOMC meeting is going to be taking place on Wednesday. So I will be live to cover the entire meeting at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We've got the summary of economic projections also being released. Google, Meta, Tesla, very, very green on the day, as well as Adobe. I did a video on, 3 stocks to basically buy high quality stocks. Adobe was one of them. Make sure that you check that video out as well, because it's going over 3 very high quality buy and hold companies that you can look at for the long term. Apple here pushing up, like I said, Microsoft slightly higher. NVDA was up over 70 basis points. A little bit of a pullback in other semiconductor and chip stocks, and healthcare, real estate, and then, of course, consumer defensives. So it was a very, very mixed day for the market. So most sectors were green, with comm services being up a little bit over 2.5%, almost 3% on the back of course, Google and Meta. In the last 1 week, there's been some split in the market performance, with healthcare, utilities, and real estate down, with communication services, energy, and industrials pushing higher. And in the last 1 month, of course, every sector is green except for real estate, which is slightly down. And cocoa prices, feeder cattle, we got volatility, we got live cattle, natural gas, oats all pushing higher, with coffee, palladium, ethanol, and orange juice selling off. And we got Bitcoin here just a little bit over 65,000, with Ether just over 33, just under 3,400, pulling back from its all-time highs, which again is normal and kind of accustomed to the cyclicality and volatility of cryptos in general. So coming over to volatility first. So again, we are not able to break past this 15, 16 levels. Every time we come up to that level, we see volatility come right back down as the markets rip right back up. And we have just been consolidating sideways in that range between, I would say, 12 and 15 levels. So that right there, very, very important area of consolidation. And the moment we kind of start triggering highs of well over 20, 18 to 20, is going to be that first key indicator for us to start deploying cash and start aggressively dollar cost averaging into the market, because volatility stays low longer than it stays higher. Okay, and when the VIX is high, it is a pure signal to be starting to buy, right? So that's when the VIX is high, it's time to buy. But when the VIX is low, it does not mean sell. It means just look out below, just be cautious, okay? Because the VIX can stay low longer than the VIX can stay higher. And the VIX, when it goes higher, it stays there for, let's say, a few days, max few weeks, and then it starts crushing back down as we see the markets kind of seeing their recovery and ripping right back higher. So keep a close eye at closer to 18 to 20 to as much as 36, 37, 40 levels. And of course, a support level or the cautious level is going to be inside this red rectangle between 11 and 12. But again, we haven't really been able to break out of that 15 level since I would say November of 2023, since we saw the markets kind of recover from back in October sell-off as well. This right here was the October sell-off, October 25th. The volatility was well over 21, 22. Perfect buying opportunity, and since then the markets have just ripped higher and higher to new all-time highs as the VIX has gotten crushed by over 45%. So the next time when the VIX is over 20 or 30 or 40, pure buying opportunity in my opinion. We will be talking about this in our Discord, and of course I'll be sending out alerts for those aggressive dollar cost averaging into the market as well. Talking about crude oil, so if you come over to crude oil here, energy prices, so we did have energy prices again push higher, almost breaking out to over $81, $82 a barrel. So this right here, huge resistance for crude, and this actually is a little bit of a problem because we are seeing energy prices rotate back higher. Gas prices eventually will follow, considering how crude oil is pushing higher, and it's actually gone up in the last about 8 to 10 weeks from $69, $70 a barrel to now up 18% to over $82 a barrel since the beginning of this year. I don't know if it shows us as the year-to-date gain. It doesn't, but it is up. So year-to-date energy prices, crude oil is up about 15-20%, which obviously is not going to be great news for inflation in our future reports. Something to keep in mind, something that is very important. Bitcoin here now starting to roll off a little bit. That's again very, very understandable considering how overbought and overextended we were to the upside. Same thing with Ethereum, just a little bit over 3,400 now, coming off of that overbought levels of well over 4,000. So it is very normal, very common, nothing out of the ordinary considering how much we had already pushed higher. This is just a regular, normal, natural pullback and slash a correction in the market considering how overextended, overbought we were for cryptos. Now coming over to S&P 500 first, so this right here is going to be SPX, continues to consolidate sideways. We are seeing a lot of exhaustion on the buyer side, considering that if you come over to the 30-minute time frame, again, you'll notice that we gapped up and then we sold right back down, and we're not really able to break out of certain levels. This is a very important signal that 5185, 5200, very, very important resistance here. And we're not able to successfully break out above that level since the beginning of March. March has been one of those months that we are seeing a lot of consolidation. So if you come over to the monthly candle, you'll notice that we are up 1% in the month of March, but it's really the momentum that is now starting to slow down, because the previous month up over 5%, the month before that up over 1.5%, the month before that 4.4%, and of course 8.9%, almost 9% in the month of November after seeing that recovery in October lows. Very, very massive move to the upside. But now it's starting to kind of slow down, up 1%. Again, I'm not saying that it's nothing, but it really just goes to show that even on a weekly time frame, we're seeing doji candles, and another potential doji candle for the market. So really just trading sideways right now as opposed to seeing new highs for the market, which is one of the first signs of market exhaustion. This right here is the NASDAQ, and again, you can kind of see that we are just trading sideways. So if I were to simply map out, where the NASDAQ is trading, this right here is basically the range within which it's just been fluctuating over the last 4 weeks. And again, you can kind of see it yourself. The candles are, kind of back and forth here. A little bit of doji candles, resistance 16,400 to a support at low as 15,800. So that 600 point gap is where the NASDAQ is kind of fluctuating at the moment. Even on the 30-minute time frame, it is pretty obvious that we are not really able to see any breakouts, and really what we're witnessing is just a lot of consolidation in between this support and in between this resistance, and we're really just trading sideways at the moment. So we are in a very, very interesting situation. I would be cautious here, considering that on a technical basis, the market overbought, overextended, now trading sideways, consolidating, and if there's any type of profit taking that takes place, the Federal Reserve could trigger that sell-off. Any number of things could trigger that sell-off. Just have to be super careful with this market. And of course, if you do see a breakdown, it's only going to be buying opportunities. So my basically recommendation to myself, and again, if you want to take that for yourself, be my guest, but of course, do your due diligence and do your research and analysis properly to better understand your financial situation and your objectives. But my recommendation in this market for myself is keep buying, and buy heavily once the VIX is higher and the markets are lower. That's it. Not here to super overcomplicate things. Honestly, like dollar cost averaging into broad-based ETFs as well as individual stocks that you find value in, keep buying and buy more when the markets are lower, giving you those opportunities. When the VIX is high, it is time to buy. So just be careful, just be patient for when that happens. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm maybe sitting at 22% cash or whatever, especially after my end phase calls were in the money and my shares got delivered. I have even more cash now. So I'm sitting on a little bit of a higher percentage cash, and I will continue to dollar cost average and buy. And I will buy more and a lot more aggressively once we see the VIX at higher levels and the markets at lower levels. And that will be the trade alerts that I will be sending out, because like I said, I'm sitting on a ton of cash right now that I will be deploying into the market once again. So that's going to be very, very important things because there's literally no point in trying to short this market. There's literally no point in trying to time a short on this market, because you would be trading against the trend unless there's actual signals that, okay, we're breaking down certain moving averages, we're breaking down certain support levels, we're potentially in the beginning of a bear market or something, or we are going to see some bigger lower lows and lower highs and a downtrend. There is absolutely no reason why anyone should be trading against the trend or trading against this market trend here, trying to short the market, trying to make a few bucks on the way down, when clearly the trend is to the upside. So my goal is to dollar cost average and buy more and be a lot more aggressive, right, during times of bear markets and recession. So not saying that we're in the clear and there's never going to be a recession or bear market. In fact, quite the contrary, telling you that there will be one, and just be ready, just be prepared with cash for when there is a bear market or a recession, so that we can dollar cost average and see them as very strong buying opportunities for these high quality businesses, right? So I've already mentioned the broad-based ETFs that I will be dollar cost averaging into. Most of you guys know what my most optimistic and bullish stocks are, but I will be putting together yet another shopping list for everybody on Discord. I will be putting together that in the newsletter with my fair values. There will be like 10, 12 different shopping list stocks that will be part of the newsletter, and that I will be going over all the companies that I will be planning to buy once the market is starting to roll over, when the VIX is high, and at what fair values for these companies. So again, links down below if you want to access the newsletter, and of course my shopping list with my fair values and my buy targets for a lot of these companies. But moving forward, Apple here, selling off. So there was quite an interesting price action on Apple. So if you come over to the 30-minute time frame, you'll notice that we actually pushed higher, then we sold right back down. So intraday, we saw about 2.5% sell off for Apple. So definitely sellers stepping in. Support level is going to stay put roughly in the 160s, as I've already mentioned. And below that, zone 2 is going to be much better at 152. It's going to make for a better trade idea for Apple. Talking about Amazon, and Amazon here also just consolidating sideways. Again, you can see that we are not able to break out over 179, 180, and we're just really trading sideways here day after day. And support level is going to stay put it down to 159 to $160, down to as low as $143 for Amazon. Talking about Tesla here, and Tesla here also pushing higher, so getting a little bit of that recovery with an oversold RSI and MACD, pushing up over 6% on the day, and resistance is going to stay put all the way up to $200, $203 per share for Tesla. So this right here is going to be that lower high and lower low pattern, downtrending channel. Like I said, resistance is going to stay put roughly around $200, $202 for Tesla. Talking about NVDA here, NVIDIA on the day just moving sideways, consolidating in that range. 842, 845 is going to be that support level to watch. And of course, if you do see a little bit of a breakdown below this, then of course we've got multiple support levels to keep in mind for NVIDIA. The first one's going to be probably at around 650s, down to 500s, down to 400s. So we've got pretty much $100 gaps here in between the next support for NVIDIA. That's how quickly it has gone up. Advanced Micro Devices has already started to roll over, so we have seen all-time highs that are well over $227. It is down about 16% from its all-time highs. Support level is going to stay put roughly around 164 down to 151. Lots of consolidation, of course, coming down from its overbought conditions. It still is somewhat validating its higher low. So if I remove everything, what you'll notice is that this right here is a clear higher low pattern for AMD. Every time it comes down to that level, it's getting bought up here very nicely. So we'll see if it actually continues to validate and respect the support, or starts to break down even further. Talking about PayPal, and PayPal actually seems to be outperforming here every single day. It's another 2.2% outperforming the market, and next resistance going to be all up to $65 per share. That seems to be a very nice inverse head and shoulders forming on PayPal, with the left shoulder here, head, and then a potential right shoulder over here. The neckline, of course, being at around $65. So there is probability for us to see a bigger breakout. $76, $77 is going to be that next resistance and target beyond that breakout of $65 for PayPal. Visa, covered this stock in another video. Make sure that you do check that out. Lots of consolidation sideways in that range. And support level is going to stay up at a 249, 250 down to $234 per share for Visa, and just a lot of consolidation sideways for this company as well. Support level is going to stay put at roughly around 249 down to 234 for Visa, of course. Meta Platforms, lots of consolidation sideways. Support level is going to stay put at 476, 477 down to 454. So lots of consolidation sideways in that range for Meta, all the way down to 386, another really important support level to keep in mind. Resistance is going to stay put at 522. Netflix here, on the other hand, also just consolidating sideways, getting rejected at around 600, 624. Negative divergence continues to kind of drift slowly and steadily higher. And we've got a little bit of a gap to fill with the support level sitting roughly around 473, even as much as low 500. So 500s are also going to be a pretty good support for Netflix. Google here, very nice move to the upside, and that's good that we actually talked about in our Discord of locking in profits in the 152, 153 levels, considering how overbought it has now become, or not really overbought, but it has definitely pushed up too much too fast, because it has gone up from 130s back up to 150s. That's about a 15-16% gain in just a short span of time. So support level is going to stay up roughly around 131, resistance all the way up to 153, 154 for Google, with, of course, a very nice move to the upside from the RSI and the MACD as well. Talking about Microsoft, and Microsoft here just consolidating sideways. Resistance is going to stay put at 417, 418, with a very nice support here sitting inside this green rectangle in the 390s to as much as $400 per share. And phase here pushing higher a little bit, so bouncing off of that support here in the low 100, so 111, 112, pushing higher very, very nicely. And resistance is going to stay put all the way up to 138, $140 is going to be that next target. That's exactly where we have been getting rejected for end phase time and time again. And last but not least, we got Costco. And Costco here just really consolidating sideways at the moment for the stock here. Support level is going to stay put at 678 down to $644 per share. So hope you all enjoy this video and a complete update on the markets here. Remember, we've got a big FOMC meeting coming up later this week. So on Wednesday, I will be live to cover the FOMC and the Fed speech at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, along with the SEP. But like I said, my goal, my objective with the markets here is to not trade against the trend, simply dollar cost average and look for opportunities in the market, as we did with Google, Apple, of course, Enphase, and even Tesla. I think is ripe for a potential reversal here. And of course, if the volatility is higher, the markets are even lower, we get into a situation of a bear market or trigger a sell-off. That's only leading me to buy more aggressively. My goal is to keep buying. Hope you all enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. As always, happy investing, and I'll see you all in the next video. Don't forget about the 16% annual discount that's available until the end of this month for a few more weeks. That's available. A few more spots left. Links going to be down below. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.